Hey everyone, my name is Jessica, and I am the owner of Fitnessing by Jessica. And this is my YouTube channel. So, welcome to my YouTube channel. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an introduction, just let you know who I am, what I'm about, and kind of the ins and outs of my fitness journey. So, what we'll start out with is my first foray, I would guess you could say, into the fitness world, and that was swimming. I had always swam growing up. My parents thought it was very important, a good life skill, all that jazz, that I know how to swim, and it was something that I just automatically fell in love with. I enjoyed doing it competitively. Ended up being a lifeguard, teaching swimming, swam competitively all throughout high school, coached swimming, all of that stuff. Um, so then in college, I did not get the opportunity to swim. The college that I decided to go to did not have a swim team, so I wasn't able to swim in college, but I did kind of continue to swim a little bit, kind of just as a way to stay active as best as I could. Unfortunately, I fell into the rut of the freshman 15 and then the sophomore 20. I don't even know how much I put on in college. I did try to stay healthy, continue to swim, and maybe work out here and there, think about what I ate. Those type of things. Then in 2010, I ended up moving down to where I live now in Cincinnati, Ohio, and moved in with my then fiance, now my husband, and ended up getting a job as a swim coach at the local Y while I was working on towards my master's degree in anthropology. So I ended up coaching swimming at the Y for about 4 years. Yeah, about 4 years, as well as participating in their master's program that they had there. So I was able to get back into the competitive swim world, which was pretty awesome. I really liked that. But then also, as a way I worked to kind of cope with the stresses of being a grad student, so taking grad classes, writing my thesis, things of that sort. I really started to get into different ways of working out besides swimming. So I started to lift weights, I started to run, and I also started to do yoga a little bit more frequently than what I was doing as a cross training method for swimming. So I was taking yoga classes at the Y, I was running and weightlifting. I kind of worked with, they had a program there for people to kind of dabble in and get into the weight training sort of thing. But then my sister-in-law, she ended up doing what is called a OCR or a mud run, and she wanted other people to do it with her, so she asked my husband and I to do it with her, and that's kind of where I started into the lovely world of OCR, or obstacle course racing. It was just a small little race up in South Bend, Indiana. It wasn't even 5K, but we ran it, and I thought I was going to die when I finished it, but it was just from that point on, I just fell in love with it, and I had to do more and more and more. So I ended up doing other smaller ones that were in the area, a lot of local ones, ones like Mud Ninja, or there was a Foam Fest. That one was a lot of fun. Things of that sort. Then in 2014, I did my first Spartan race. It was a huge deal to me because I knew that Spartan was what I like to call one of the top three of the OCR world. So you have your Tough Mudders, you have your Warrior Dashes, and then you have your Spartan races. So, you got your Tough Mudders who are longer distance, 10 to 12 miles, more obstacles, things of that sort. You got your Warrior Dashes that are small 5Ks, not very difficult, nothing of that sort. But then you had your Spartan races, and they had these lists of different races that you could do. You could do your sprint, your super, your beast. You got your hurricane heats. You got your 12-hour hurricane heats. You have your ultras. You have all of these different ones, and it was a huge deal for me to get to do my first Spartan race, and I was so excited, and I absolutely loved it. It was horrible at the time, because as it started to rain. It rained when we ran. There was sleet, hail, all of that stuff. But you know what? We really enjoyed it, and we found out a week after we ran that I was actually pregnant with my first child, my son. It was something that we had planned, and I was super excited for it. I had all these plans of how I was going to be a fit mom, and I was going to be pregnant, and everything was going to be great and awesome, and I wasn't going to fall into this deadly trap that a lot of moms fall into, and where we eat everything and we don't exercise, and we just become very sedentary and unhealthy and things of that sort. So that was my plan. That was what I was going to do. Now, I'm sure everybody knows that life doesn't happen the way that you plan it to a lot of the time, probably the majority of the time. And during my first trimester, I wasn't stricken with this horrible, can't eat anything, puking everywhere. I had these stomach cramps where I could barely move, let alone exercise. And the solution that I seem to have found was to eat. Eating certain things, especially things that were high fat, so things like ice cream, or oddly enough, mayonnaise. I ate mayonnaise on everything, ate butter on everything that first trimester, because that's what helped my stomach, made me feel better, allowed me to function. So I ended up putting on a lot of weight during my first trimester, and it kind of just continued. I started to feel better, so I decided, I'll get back, I'll start working out again, and I tried, but it was still to that point where it was still difficult to kind of get back into it, and it just turned into a snowball effect. And so by the time my third trimester had rolled around, I put on a significant amount of weight and wasn't really able to exercise. We'd go to the gym and walk 30 minutes around the track. I tried to stay active as much as I could. I've always been the type of person who would want to walk places over driving, take the stairs versus the elevator. I still did all of that stuff, but I wasn't able to do the things that I had been doing before. So then by my last doctor's appointment, before I ended up being induced, I had put on close to 93 pounds, I think is what it all came out to be. So, pretty close to that 100-pound mark, which is a lot for putting on when you're pregnant. And they had found out that my blood pressure was really high, so they had sent me to the hospital, thinking that it was just some standard preeclampsia. Went to the hospital, they did blood tests. Blood test came back saying that my liver enzymes were really high, and that I had to be induced. So, kind of a slam. Did everything to prepare for a natural, no epidural, not induced, ancient way. I don't even know what to call it. I had planned for that type of birthing experience. My husband and I took the classes, we read the books, we made the birth plan, we did all of that stuff. And then it was kind of surprise, you're going to have a child tonight. So you can just imagine that experience. My mom had to come down, rush down from Michigan, and I ended up getting a fever. I had an infection in my uterus. My doctor came in, she said, hey, this isn't just straight preeclampsia. You got what we call severe preeclampsia. So we're going to get this baby out as soon as we can. I was like, okay, well, I'm not getting an epidural. Do not give me an epidural. The last thing I want is a shot in my back. no, I don't like needles. You see these piercings. That is like my extent of needles. Like, I'll donate blood, but please don't ask me to get a shot. Please, I don't like those. Anyways, so I powered through, and they induced me, and I was having my contractions and everything, and it just wasn't progressing. I wasn't dilating. So I was like, okay, it's too much. Give me that epidural. I ended up getting that epidural. Not what I planned. Again, life not happening the way you plan it. And then, sorry, cell phones. So then I got the epidural, and we ended up having my son the next morning at like 7:45. I'm not the type of mom that remembers that stuff. Sorry. I think it was like 7:45 in the morning. I don't remember how much he was. How much he weighed or anything of that sort. He was a little baby, maybe like 7 pounds, couple ounces. Definitely not enough to warrant a 100-pound weight gain. So then the birthing didn't happen the way it was supposed to. And they're like, okay, well, are you breastfeeding or formula feeding? And I said, I'm pumping. I don't want to breastfeed. I don't want to have to buy formula. So I'm pumping. Basically, they told me that wasn't a choice. Either I had to put the baby on the boob, or he got formula. So we tried breastfeeding. While I had this severe preeclampsia and had to be put on magnesium, it didn't work out again. He lost a lot of weight. We were lucky enough to be able to go home with him. Already started with sleep deprivation. Already was feeling very overwhelmed, very discouraged because things, again, just weren't happening the way that they were supposed to, the way that I had planned them to. So when we went to leave the hospital, I actually started crying. Thought it was just like the baby blues, just being over emotional. Got home, we got everything situated, and things were supposed to get better, and they didn't. My parents were here. They helped us out as best they could, but they had to eventually go home. And all of a sudden I was just stricken with a lot of panic attacks, a lot of discouraging feelings, feeling very down, feeling as if I wasn't able to do this, that I wasn't meant to be a mom. That's how I was feeling, which is, it's a blow, especially when you want to have children. I worked for years around children. I did it all. I knew how to handle a child. I knew what it all meant, that basically I signed up for 18 plus years of having this thing attached to me, either physically or mentally. I knew that, but I thought that I couldn't do it. And I remember probably what is one of the worst days in my life. I had found a mommy class. It was a tummy time class. So it was a mommy and me class. And, I went there and I couldn't even say her name without starting crying. And, I just told the lady and the other ladies in the class and everything. I just said, oh, we just had a rough morning. And just from there, after the class, she kind of, or like during the time that we were supposed to practice ourselves and everything, she came over to me and she asked me what was going on and everything. And I tried to explain it all to her, started crying again. She asked me to stay after the class for a breastfeeding class that they had. They had a free breastfeeding support group, actually. She says, I know you're not breastfeeding, but still stay. Like, and we can talk. So I stayed, and we talked, and I didn't feel better about it all. And I get in the car with my son. I get on the phone with my mom, and I say, Mom, I can't do it. I love him so much. I don't want to put him up for adoption, but I can't do it. So you can only imagine how heartbreaking that is, to have this thing that you wanted for a long time and you have it and you feel like you can't do it. It's devastating. It was at that point that I made an appointment with my OBGYN, and I got diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety. Went to a counselor, got put on medication, all of that stuff. Got cleared for exercising, started to be able to work out, and it helped. And as I got better and continued to see my counselor, stayed on medication, all of that stuff, I was able to continue to work out in a more intense capacity. Ended up, over the course of 3 years, this has been a 3-year journey for me, continue to work out and continue to train for the obstacle course races that I loved, and was able to go back and redo them, start doing them again. And I'm at the point where I lost all the weight, which is pretty awesome. And also I made the decision to get my personal training certification, to kind of help moms who have been through the same thing that I have, that need that support system, who want to get back in shape, want to find ways to manage their anxiety and their depression through exercising. We all have this desire to get our pre-baby body back. The fact of the matter is that you'll never get your exact pre-baby body back. It's not going to happen because our bodies change. We became pregnant. Like, there's no other way to explain it. We had this thing growing inside our body for, depending on how your pregnancy went, anywhere from like 25 weeks to 45 weeks. Lord knows how long pregnancies can last, because it's all guesswork. We don't know exactly. It's all when that thing decides to come out, or when it makes you, in my case, too sick to stay in there anymore and cook. And there's a lot of internal changes that have happened. Our hips spread, our muscles relax, our skin loosens. There's a lot of things that make it incredibly difficult to have that exact pre-baby body back. But that doesn't mean that we can't become the best people that we can and design a whole new body for us to fall in love with. And that's kind of my goal here, is to help moms and help all you guys work and get that not that pre-body. I gotta stop saying that. We all have to stop saying, that pre-baby body back, because it's not happening. This is our post-baby body, and we're gonna make it the best that we can and what we want it to be. So, that could be 6-pack abs. That could be defined shoulder muscles and defined biceps and triceps and a bigger butt or a smaller butt or whatever. But we're going to make it what we want and what we want it to do. And that is a very important thing that we have to realize, is that we want to make our bodies into what we want them to do. If you want to just be able to run around with your kids, that's perfectly fine. If you want to run a marathon, that's okay. If you want to do an obstacle course race, that's okay. And if you have huge aspirations to do something huge, like you want to be the next American Ninja Warrior, we can do that. There's no reason why we can't. And that is my desire, is to be here to help you guys and become basically that best person that we can. And I'm here to support everybody. It's a journey that I've been on for 3 years, and I'm still on. I'm still going to be on it probably for the rest of my life, and that's okay, because that's what I want to do. And I want to make my best body that I can through my exercises. I want to run my obstacle course races. I want to run my 10Ks, and I want to be my American Ninja Warrior, because that is something for another video, but a huge aspect of my life. So I hope you made it through this video. I really appreciate it if you did. I know I kind of rambled, and it started as fitness, and then it went to postpartum depression, and then it went back to fitness, and then I had to throw in my American Ninja Warrior. So I really appreciate you watching this. I hope that you watch more of my videos. I'm hoping to be able to give you guys some videos of workouts as well as exercises that you guys can do, kind of go through a step-by-step process, as well as share other aspects of things. So stories of my life, maybe some recipes, maybe meal planning, things of that sort. And that's what my hope is. So I really appreciate you watching this. If you did make it through all the way, please hit that like button as well as the subscribe button. And I will be uploading videos as I can. As you know, I have a 3-year-old, so it kind of depends on how he lets mommy do work. But I just thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. So, bye.